Hello, this is Bill Steffen. Thanks for coming along tonight. We are out on the three-season porch. I've got a couple of cats kind of circling around on the floor here, but nice quiet evening here in West Michigan. And with the warmer weather that we've had, I've been able to spend more time out here on the porch. Kind of interesting. Hey, we got a lot to talk about. First of all, severe weather. We've had a kind of a dull pattern here, which is a good thing. We're not complaining about that. In terms of severe weather, during the day yesterday, we had two tornadoes. They were very small and insignificant, one in Indiana and one in Illinois. Those are represented by the red dots on the map. The blue dots represent wind, and there were 10 wind damage reports. The most significant number of wind outages were in the state of West Virginia. There were fewer than 100,000 customers countrywide, and that includes all of the that includes Puerto Rico, all the territories as well. So that's a relatively small number. It shows we haven't had much in the way of severe weather of late. There were 3 severe hail reports. They were all around an inch in diameter or so and not big enough to do a lot of damage. But no severe weather here in Michigan and no severe weather in Tornado Alley. You can see they were kind of in an arc from Illinois down toward North Carolina, but no injuries, no real significant damage to buildings reported here during the day on Tuesday. Here's the way it looks for this afternoon. We're going to ramp up some heavy thunderstorms, possibly severe thunderstorms in parts of North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and that extends into parts of Iowa and Minnesota. The yellow is the level 2 or slight risk, and the level 1 is a marginal risk. You can see there's another marginal risk area that runs from Maryland on down towards South Dakota, but the area they're most concerned about is out there in the high plains. And then for Thursday, that's the day we got to be concerned about, level 3 in Wisconsin, where they now have an enhanced risk there over much of the state of Wisconsin. Here we have a level 2 risk in Michigan, and the Storm Prediction Center says a severe hail and wind threat, upscale growth into an organized line of storms is possible given strong forcing along the front as an arcing line of storms moves east into the Great Lakes region. Best bet for any severe weather here in our area would come during the late afternoon through early nighttime hours, especially during the evening. Those thunderstorms will be rolling in at a pretty good clip across Lake Michigan from west to east. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Again, that is not for today. That would be for the day tomorrow, for Thursday. So interesting situation. Well, let's take a moment to thank our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Need a fast, efficient, and affordable cleaning service? Complete Care Concierge has you covered. Serving all of West Michigan, we offer one-time, daily, weekly, and bi-weekly cleans, plus move in, move out. We also service apartment hallways and laundry rooms. Our work is guaranteed, gift cards are available, and we even clean on weekends. There's no better way to say I love you than giving a tired mom a break from dishes and laundry. Are you a busy professional? Pamper yourself by taking vacuuming and dusting off your plate. Office manager, keep your business looking and feeling its very best. Call 616-264-1397 today for a spotless space and total peace of mind.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Here's a look at some interesting temperatures. We've talked about it being cooler near the lake. It was not quite as warm in inland areas, so the lake effect was a little bit less pronounced. But take a look at the numbers here. Holland Airport was 71 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you were at the beach in Holland, the air temperature there was 64, so that's a difference of 7 degrees. Muskegon, 1 degree cooler, but same difference. Muskegon Airport was 70, and the Muskegon Pier showed a temperature of 63. And up in Upper Michigan, for the second day in a row, the warmest place in the state at mid-afternoon was Houghton. They're usually one of the cooler spots up there in the Keweenaw Peninsula, but the wind has been coming down the peninsula And because of that, they've seen their temperatures warm well up into the 80s. But compare that to Escanaba, which had a wind coming in off of Lake Michigan, and they were just 56 degrees. So it's kind of interesting. A little micro forecasting around here. You pretty much have to tell people what to expect, different weather in different areas based upon those lake temperatures. And that's a pretty picture. That's from the Gluro camera. That was sunset Monday on May the 12th. We have another couple of pictures of sunset to come later on in the presentation here, but boy, that's pretty. Chance of a shower today. There could be a weak thunder shower, but no severe weather is expected. Much of the time, it will not be raining, so there's plenty of time to get out and enjoy the day. It will be a touch on the humid side, but not bad. Best bet for a more significant thunderstorm will come Thursday evening, and that could have some gusty winds and maybe a little hail with it. Cooler weather is going to follow for the weekend, and much of next week, we're going to see a lot of days with high temperatures back into the 60s and probably down in the upper 30s to mid 40s at night. So some cooler weather on the way here for next week. Okay, a little bit on Holland's weather if you're going to be over by the lakeshore. And I want to remind you again, the tulips are still looking beautiful. That's what it looked like yesterday. And look at all those red tulips there. The weather for May the 14th, variably cloudy skies, more clouds than not. Could be an isolated shower. I think high temperatures in downtown Holland during the afternoon, about 75. Winds will be on the light side, and the lake breeze may penetrate back into the downtown area. So you may see the high temperature for the day around 1 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that, and then it may drop a couple of degrees as that wind turns off the lake. But another nice day over in the Holland area there, and they had a great tulip time there for sure. Okay, a little bit on the 66-hour rainfall map here. This is a 3-day map, and you can see it's still raining on the East Coast. More rain for New York City, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia. The state that's going to get the most rain, North Dakota. Boy, how often do you see that? Not very often. But there's a nice swath where thunderstorms will be producing some rain, and that the orangish color there in the middle represents up to 2 inches of rain is going to fall. And you can see the blob back toward Yellowstone National Park. That's going to be rain and snow at the highest elevations. So kind of interesting there. North American snow cover looks like this, which is interesting. First of all, we're going to zoom in there and show you that the map's showing 1/4 to 3/4 inch of rain across the West Michigan area here over the next 3 days. And that would include the storm that may arrive here Thursday evening. After that, things should taper off, and we should be essentially, a chance of rain's not zero Friday, Saturday, but it's pretty small. Okay, let's move on then and take a look at what we have ahead here for us. This is a zoomed in area showing you where the snow is going to be out in the western United States. You can see out there toward Yellowstone National Park, more snow, some of the Bitterroots there in the state of Idaho. Even some snow in the higher elevations there between California and Nevada, in the Sierra Nevadas there. So we're still talking a little bit of snow here as we approach mid-May. Okay, now we're going to take a look at snow totals off to the north. This is kind of interesting. This is a map that's comes out most days, and the green is where there's no snow or ice. The white in the western United States is snow in the mountains, and 3% of the United States, this is determined by satellite picture, 3% of the 48 states has some snow on the ground, and that is, again, those peaks out in the western United States. But look up north into Canada, you can see there they had a heck of a snowstorm in Labrador on Mother's Day. Some places they're picking up over 1 foot of snow. You can see there's snow in the northern half of Quebec and up in Labrador, totally covered by snow. The yellow indicates ice, and Lake Nipigon, north of Lake Superior, is still covered with ice. And you can see the ice is just starting to break up on Hudson Bay. It's the ice breakup on Hudson Bay starts in the northwest part of the bay, and it works its way to the south. And it's usually someplace in the southern part of the lake that has the last ice in Hudson Bay. So that's interesting. And there's snow on the ground over more than half of Alaska. Northern part of Alaska has seen daytime temperatures only in the teens here for the past couple of days. Okay, on we go. Taking a look at what's coming up next. Our forecast for today shows a chance of a shower. I've got a little sun poking out of the cloud, but there won't be a whole lot of sunshine here today. Temperatures will be similar to yesterday, mid-70s for highs during the afternoon. Pleasant day. Humidity falls to 70%. That'll keep the fire danger down just a bit. And the winds out of the east at only about 5 miles an hour. And like I said, that wind may turn west or northwest off Lake Michigan here during the afternoon hours. Taking a look at some temperatures here for the next 3 days. 74 degrees for Grand Rapids mid-afternoon. Holland Airport at 73. But you can see at the beach, it'll be a little bit cooler than that. Grand Haven downtown showing a temperature there of around 62, while Kalamazoo farther inland is at 75. Traverse City makes 73, but I bet a lake breeze kicks in there and shoves their temperatures down into the 60s, low to mid 60s here during the afternoon. Outlook here for the day on Thursday. That's our warmest day. Wind to be out of the south, and with the south wind, it may be almost as warm at the lake. Holland still shows a little bit of a southwest lake breeze and a temperature of 73. Holland Tulip City Airport at 84. Grand Rapids up into the mid 80s during the afternoon. Big Rapids gets an 83. Traverse City should be at least 80. And you can see the lake breeze kicking in over in Wisconsin, where right along the lakeshore, you got that yellow color there. And then we go one more day here into Friday. And on Friday, there'll be cooler air starting to come in. Before it does, I think we can still reach about 80 in Grand Rapids. But as the wind turns to the northwest, it'll start coming in off the lake. You can see Ludington's high at 68 degrees. Across the lake, temperatures will likely be in the 60s and low 70s by late afternoon. Long range outlook looks like this through the weekend. Temperatures up into the mid 70s today, low to mid 80s Thursday, but a bit cooler near Lake Michigan. I think we're still 80 on Friday, again cooler near the lake. And then we cool off into the mid to upper 60s here for Saturday and Sunday. Right now, I've got it partly cloudy both days. I can't totally rule out a shower here on Saturday. I put the odds of that at about 20%, but I think on the bright side, that's an 80% chance of nothing. So let's hopefully that will be the case, and we'll get our rain here Thursday evening and then be done with it. Long range outlook, take a look at this, that below average area in terms of temperatures, May 21 to 27. Right over the Great Lakes area, and that will mean some days in the 60s and probably 50s near Lake Michigan. It also means that we'll be seeing temperatures at night, perhaps down in the upper 30s to low 40s. So cooler pattern. You can see the contrast between the above average temperatures down to the south, the below average temperatures to the north. And when you see that combination, that usually means above average rainfall. And the rainfall outlook here is, we take a look at that, shows that we are in the slightly above average rainfall outlook here for the period May 21 through the 27th. So below average temperatures here, and then we'll be seeing slightly above average rainfall totals here throughout the area. Let's see if we can take a look at that next slide. There we go. And you've got the above average in lower Michigan. So we're right on the tail of that. It'll probably be below average as high pressure builds in the 25th through the 27th, and above average rainfall during that first part of the week, 21st through the 23rd. Okay, that's what I've got, but Michelle has added some slides, and Alex has helped out as well. I want to pass along a comment from somebody that remarked about the Kalamazoo tornado of 1980. Kalamazoo Candy says it hit Westwood, that's an area of Kalamazoo, at 4:07. That's when the clock stopped. That's when we knew what time the tornado hit. I saw it across the street before it hit my neighbor's house. I was outside just before this, and there was no hail, no lightning. I was in fifth grade at St. Augustine School. That's right in downtown, by the way. And school let out at 2:45 every day, which is good because all the kids were home then before that tornado hit. And it hit the school, and there was some very significant damage done to St. Augustine's there. We all were home well before the tornado hit. So Candy, thanks for that comment. And if anybody else has anything on the tornado to pass along, just leave a comment. And Kalamazoo tornado, I usually remember Ray Hackman, who was our observer for many years in the Kalamazoo area, passed away a couple of years ago up into his 80s, and he kept meticulous weather records for the Kalamazoo area, which I hope somebody has managed to save, because he wrote down the weather for every day in the Kalamazoo area. It was really interesting. All right, next up on the list here, any word on the summer outlook? This is from Jeff Schuler. Yes, we are working on that, and I'll tell you right now, we expect the core of the heat this summer to be in the high plains of Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, South Dakota, maybe up into North Dakota, into the Rocky Mountains. That's where there's going to be a kind of a ridge, and underneath that ridge is where the temperatures will be warmer than average. I think we'll be kind of downstream that ridge, which will give us a kind of a west or west-northwest flow that could keep our temperatures just slightly warmer than average here. But we will see occasional cool fronts, which I think will give us not above average, but average amounts of rainfall here. So on the whole, I think this should be a pretty good summer for us. If you're looking to get out, I think we're going to see a lot of sunny, beautiful days here in West Michigan. I don't think it'll be too terribly cool here. There'll be plenty of warm days. We average about 9 days that are up into the 90s, that hit 90 degrees in Grand Rapids during the course of the summer. And I would suspect we'll probably be up into the 10 to 12 category here this summer. That would be my guess at this point. But we're still working on it. We'll have more on that. But that's a reminder that we should be looking into that question here. So interesting. But it should be a great summer here in West Michigan. All right, next we have a little notice on an event taking place here tonight at the Grand Rapids Public Museum. Early closure of the museum today for a big fundraiser. This is the Cabinet of Curiosities called Grand Slam, celebrating the new exhibit, Play Ball, the world's largest collection of Detroit Tigers autographed baseballs. Now, we did a story on the Woods. I was watching Wood TV8 as I usually watch their news. They did a great story, which is probably still up online if you want to go to their website, on the baseballs that this one guy has collected. And he's got every famous Tiger. He's got Ty Cobb, Al Kaline, and more recently, Miguel Cabrera, the Tigers that are in the Hall of Fame. I think we probably got, about 15, 16 Tigers in the Hall of Fame. But this should be a great event. They may still have tickets available. It runs from 6 to 9 o'clock. Cocktail attire. I don't know if everybody's wearing a tie now. I think I have a baseball tie in there somewhere. $100 a ticket, and you can get down there and see that. I was on the Friends Board of the Public Museum for 10 years or more, I would believe. It's a great group, and we have a wonderful museum here in the Grand Rapids area. And if you haven't been down there, you ought to take a day, pick a rainy day when there's not much to do outside, head down to the public museum. You can ride down the buses stop down there, and you can take a look at the museum and see all the wonderful stuff that you have there, including the skeleton of the blue whale, the airplanes that are up in the hall there right in the beginning as you come on in, the curiosity shop, and all kinds of neat things that you can see at the museum. Okay, let's see what else we got here from Michelle. Hey, May 14th, 1857, that's before the Civil War. First classes were held at Michigan State. It was the land grant school. 63 students attended the first classes, and there were 2 original buildings and then a barn where they had classes as well. I guess a land grant, you'd find that appropriate. None of the original buildings still is standing there. Today, the enrollment in Spartan Nation is over 50,000. Can you imagine that, going from 63 to 50,000? Great school. A lot of good climatology, geography coming out of the geography department there at Michigan State. And a fun fact that relates to family: the Olin Health Center on MSU's campus is named after daughter number 3's husband's family. Richard M. Olin was the first commissioner of health for the state of Michigan. So isn't that neat? Wow, kind of a connection there, personal connection. All right, up next on the list here, we got a couple of things to show you. A couple of chickens, sure. Why not? It's a weather show. What's a weather show without a couple of chickens, right? Oh, let's see, Bill. Let's see you dance like a chicken. No, that would not be very egg-citing. That would be for sure. But do chickens dance? I mean, there's the chicken dance, right? Da 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 da. Okay. But that's interesting. I am not a dancer. Okay, I will tell you that. I have 2 left feet, and tried a few times. It's never really worked out. My parents were wonderful dancers. My father was 80 years old, and he would twirl my mother around and everything. They were both quite fit. And my dad, of course, was a professional drummer for a while. He was usually up playing rather than down there. But my father could do just about everything. I remember him calling square dancing. And I said, where did you find that out? He just figured it out how to do it. Okay, the average American eats chicken 2 to 3 times per week. I can believe that. Very interesting. All right, and up next, these are slides from Michelle. And May 14th is Night Shift Workers Day. We've lost the hands on the clock there. Bill, what do you like about working the late night shift? I still kind of work the late night shift. We're recording this, and it's late at night. And for many years, I worked the late shift. If you're with the National Weather Service, you change shifts every few weeks. You start out on the day shift, 8 to 5 or whatever, and then you move over to the second shift, and then you go to the third shift. I would prefer working the all night shift, for years. And I did that. And for a while, I worked the morning shift at WZZM. And then I went to prime time. There really is no 8 to 5 shift. Weather goes on 24/7. So you kind of, have to kind of adjust. And then you're always on call. I like staying up to 3:30. And I say, I'm going to want to stay up tonight. I know it. I'm going to try and go to bed, and I'm not going to be able to sleep because I'm waiting for the Storm Prediction Center to update the severe weather outlook for Thursday to see if we make it into the advanced outlook or if we're still in the slight outlook or whatever. That's usually updated for day 1 and day 2 are usually updated around 2 a.m. Eastern time. And day 3 comes after that, about an hour after that, and day 4 to 8 comes usually between about 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. But I've always enjoyed working the second shift. You can see the full moon. One of the nice things about the second shift is that the switchboard is closed, so you don't get everybody calling you and asking you questions so you don't have time to answer. Let me put it that way. I had one old lady that would call me all the time and ask what the temperature was. And I don't want to be rude and say, buy a thermometer. Okay, put it out the window. I'll have somebody come and do it for you. But they're looking for somebody to talk to, and a lot of people like to talk weather. But the graphics don't make themselves. We've got to work on that and deal with the producers and the rundown of the news. And we have to take care of radio and the internet and blogs and everything else. And you're really busy. You really don't have a lot of time to talk. So a lot of times if someone called, and I would have, my old fraternity brothers would call the station and say, hey, Bill, how you doing? I'm busy. Love to talk to you, but later. Take down your number. And so that was one of the nice things about working the night shift was that you didn't have to deal with a lot of phone calls. Okay, next slide here. We got May 14th in history, and this is courtesy of Alex. 1804, the beginning of Meriwether Lewis and Clark's expedition across North America, which began, I believe, just north of St. Louis. It is where the Missouri River empties into the Mississippi. I believe the town there is St. Charles. I did go through there once, and I did see the Great Arch in St. Louis. Never did take the trip up to the top of the arch, but Lewis and Clark was an amazing expedition. Of course, they made it all the way to the Pacific Ocean and then back in one piece. Birthdays. Richard Deacon, I know, was an actor, and if I remember right, he was in a number of sitcoms, including the old Dick Van Dyke Show that was on. I think he was somebody that came in and did that. Of course, George Lucas of Star Wars fame, and he's getting up there. We would be 81 years old. And then Mark Zuckerberg, of course, the Facebook guru. And he was born in 1984, started Facebook. I believe he was in one of the Ivy League schools. Was he at Columbia? I don't know. I'd have to figure that out, or Harvard, or one of those out east. And really came up with an amazing communications idea. And, we still, I think I have on my Facebook, I have 2 Facebook sites. Okay. I have a fan site and a friend site. The friend site, you're only allowed to have 5,000. The fan site, you can have as many as you want. So I believe I'm up to about 35,000 on my fan site. So I get lots of emails, sometimes too many for me to keep up with. I do the best I can. But if you're not a friend of mine on Facebook, you can't go to the friend site. I have 1,000 people waiting to be my friend. So that's going to take a while. And then you can go to my fan site and sign up there. On the blog, by the way, right here, the vlogs we do, subscribe to them. Please do that. It's free, and there's a lot that you can pick up. I've got a separate thread going on the thunderstorm possibilities here for Thursday. So that's interesting. All right, we have some pictures to share with you too. This is from Matthew Hooksema, and he sent me 2 pictures. This is the first one. A couple things I want to point out. The sun is not quite set. This is over by Lake Michigan, I assume. If you look way on the left, there's a little boat there, a little tiny boat out there in the distance. And if you look up in the sky, you can see a couple of jet contrails. No, not chemtrails. They are contrails. Water vapor is a product of condensation coming out of the plains there. And you can see those. Now, if we go to the next slide that Matthew sent in to us, the next slide will show you that the contrails have disappeared. And if we can go to that next slide, the boat off to the side will have disappeared as well. So that's kind of interesting. The sun just is set in the last moment. The boat is gone, the contrails are gone, and the sun is going away. So that's interesting. But thanks to Matthew for those 2 pictures. A very pretty sunset there at Lake Michigan. We'll have a lot of those here over the summer. Next slide will show you a picture from John Meppelink. And as you can see, that is a tree that has seen better days. That is a tree that, as you can see, has many, many holes in it. The Swiss cheese tree, I guess we could call it. And of course, a tree like that is often taken down, but a lot of the critters appreciate a dead tree like that because it provides homes for insects and sometimes even birds. In fact, we have a hole in our maple tree out back here that the squirrels go in, and I have seen 3 squirrels fit in that little hole. And I'm surprised the branch is still there, but it still is. So, John, thank you for that picture. That's very interesting. And one more picture to share with you, I believe, from John Doherty up in Benzie County, taken May 13th. There are 2 layers of clouds here, and the lower layer is not getting any sun on it, so it's kind of a dark gray, kind of dark. And the top layer there is in the sunshine, so that's reflecting the sun's light. Sunlight, by the way, is white colored. Did you know that? Sunlight is white. It looks yellowish and then orange and red on the horizon sometimes because those are the colors that get through the air the best. But during the main part of the day, it's generally white light. And if you were to put together the primary colors of the sun, that is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and indigo, put those colors together, you can tell that you spin that around real fast and it's going to look white. If you put it on a record turntable, I did that when I was a kid. That was an interesting experiment. You take a white circular sheet of paper and you punch a hole in it, and you set it. You color it each an equal part of those 7 colors, and then you put it on a record player and spin it around, and it will actually look white. So it's kind of interesting. Well, I think we have come to the end of our little weather journey here for today. Again, Michelle is vacationing down in the country of Costa Rica. Beautiful weather, hot weather that they've been getting down there on the northwest coast. She will be back here probably not tomorrow night, but the night after. We hope her wonderful vacation continues. Thanks so much for joining us and staying until the end. Hope you have yourself an incredibly wonderful day.